Hi everybody. Do you know what this is? This is not a banana. It might look like banana. It's actually a plantain. Plantains are one of the staple foods in many other parts of the world. In South America, a lot of the island nations, Africa. But plantains don't get enough press in the United States, in my opinion. Cuba, it's in lots of Cuban food. I'm gonna make for you guys the most delicious crepes you have ever had, and they are not going to have even one single lick of flour in them, all because we are using this amazing plantain. Plantains are loaded with fiber, potassium, and magnesium. Magnesium is one of the most important nutrients you can ever have. You need so much magnesium, and most people are not getting enough in their diet and have to supplement it. But plantains have lots of magnesium. So I'm going to show you what to do. So this is, you can see this one is still a little bit green and with some brown spots. This is perfect. So we're just going to cut the ends off. And I'm going to score down the side. Basically, I'm going to put my little paring knife, or I'm going to cut through to the point that it gets to the flesh. I'm going to do that on 4 sides. And it can cut down a little bit past. You just definitely want to cut through the whole skin, or you're going to have a hard time getting off the peel. So we have those 4 cuts. Now I'm just going to run my finger down. See, so it's a lot like a banana, but as you can see, it has a lot more starch. Well, I don't know if you can really see that, but the texture is very different. So here's our plantain. Now I'm just gonna rough cut this and pop it into my trusty food processor and blend it into a paste. Meanwhile, I have my crepe pan just beginning to preheat. So now that this is, this looks like a ricey consistency, I'm going to start adding my other stuff. You're going to need your amounts are going to be, they're going to vary a little bit, based upon the ripeness of the plantain. But what I'm doing here is about 1/4 cup of water and 2 tablespoons of my primal fat coconut ghee blend, and 2 eggs for every plantain, but we may have to adjust that just a little bit. I'm going to drizzle my water in. This is, I have melted some of this primal fat, so we're going to do a couple tablespoons of this. Two eggs. We're going to check on the consistency, scrape down. Just going to scrape down the sides. Okay, so now you can see the consistency is pretty thin, like, what's the texture of this like? I don't know, rotten milk. But you can see it's pretty thin, and that's good because it's going to give us a nice, thin, delicate crepe. So now I put just a little bit of this primal fat. I put it into my crepe pan, and then I wiped the pan back out. You don't want there to be too much of a buildup of cooking oil in the pan, because it's just not really going to work out. So now we have our pan nice and hot. I'm going to, this is where the magic happens, okay? As soon as this hits the pan, I'm going to begin swirling it around, because it's really important that we get a nice, thin, even layer. Just like so. Sorry. So now we're just going to let this cook for a couple minutes, and we'll know that it's ready to turn because we're actually going to see a golden edge forming around the outside, and the crepe will become really easy to release from the pan. You know, if we tried to flip it over now, it would just fall apart, but we're just going to keep an eye on it. Let me talk to you guys while we wait for this to cook. Let me talk to you about some fillings. I love homemade Nutella for this. You can do a really simple homemade Nutella with just some, in your food processor, you just do some cocoa powder. You can use more of this amazing primal fat, a little bit of honey, some cocoa powder and salt. And I'll leave you guys the actual ingredients below, and you can just blend that in your food processor and then just smear that on the inside of your crepe with some bananas. It's delicious. You could do some coconut whipped cream with some fresh fruit. You can do almond butter and jelly. I mean, really, the sky's the limit for what you can put into these crepes. All right, so I think I don't know if you guys can see, but this didn't really get so brown this time, but you can actually see that the edges have lifted away. So we're just gonna get, using a fish spatula, which is nice and thin, we're just gonna ever so gently get, oh, this one is releasing pretty easily. Just give it a flip. And now on this other side, it really is only gonna need about, like, maybe even just like 10 or 20 seconds to finish cooking, because it's mostly cooked. All right, guys, now we have a couple of our finished, beautiful plantain crepes. Aren't they awesome? So I have one of my favorite ways to eat these that I'm going to share with you. So what I have here is a little bit of homemade Nutella. I'll leave you guys the recipe for this below. I'm going to give this a little spread. Let's just spread it all the way, like on every inch. Then to that, I'm going to add a layer of bananas. And I know this sounds weird, but you're just gonna have to hang with me on this. I'm gonna add a little bit of sea salt. Well, I guess it might not seem too weird for you now that like everybody eats salted caramel everything. You're sort of getting the idea of the salt. A little bit of salt there. And then I'm just gonna do a little tiny drizzle of honey. This Nutella isn't terribly sweet. And this is definitely a dessert crepe at this point. Because it's more of a clump than a drizzle, but you can melt your honey down if it's too thick. And so there you have that. Now we're just going to roll this up. Oh yes, yes, yes. I'm gonna eat it now. It's so good. Oh my God. I really hope you make this. It's really delicious. Thanks for joining me. Go make plantain crepes now. Bye.